Max the Meerkat spots a strange green glowing seed sparkling beneath a cactus flower. He pulls out his tiny magnifying glass and examines its shimmer with scientific curiosity. "This seed's not from any plant I know," Max exclaims, tail twitching in excitement. The desert wind swirls, and Max gently tucks the seed into a glass jar in his explorer backpack. Max arrives at his cozy desert tent filled with beakers, books, and plant charts. He places the seed under a mini sunlight lamp and jots notes into his plantastic journal. The seed wiggles in response to the light, glowing brighter with a tiny ping. Max gasps, "This spark is alive!" A glowing, buzzing bee zips through Max's window wearing tiny solar panels on her wings. "I'm Sunny the solar bee, and that spark needs sunlight to grow," she says cheerfully. Max grabs his sun hat and goggles, excited to learn about light energy. They high-five paw to wing and set off for photosynthesis fields. Rolling hills of giant sunflowers turn their heads in unison toward the glowing sun. Sunny explains how leaves collect sunlight and turn it into food for plants. Max draws photosynthesis diagrams in the dirt, beaming with understanding. The seed in his jar begins to sprout a glowing green stem. A wiggly worm pops up from the soil wearing glasses and a leaf-shaped backpack. "I'm Rooter, and soil is more than just dirt, it's alive," he says with a squirmy smile. Max kneels to look at tiny soil critters under his magnifying lens. The group decides to head to the compost caves to learn more. Glowing tunnels made of banana peels, apple cores, and leaves sparkle with warmth. Max watches compost steam rise and learns how organic waste turns into rich soil. Rooter teaches Max the word decompose by singing a silly wormy rhyme. The sprout in Max's jar grows to glowing leaves. A sparkling waterfall made of crystal clear droplets rains gently over thirsty plants. Sunny shows Max how water travels through roots to leaves using a water wheel model. Max uses a tiny droplet dropper to water a sprout, which twinkles in joy. A rainbow stretches overhead, pointing toward the next destination. Puffy white clouds float low over a mountaintop covered in moss and mushrooms. Sunny summons a small rain cloud pal to teach Max about the water cycle. Max draws evaporation and condensation diagrams on a mossy rock. The sprout grows a tiny green bud at the top, it's almost a flower. Max peers through a glowing puddle and shrinks down to microbe size. He meets Mossy the Microbe, a bouncing, jelly-like creature with a magnified grin. Mossy leads Max through a root-level wave, showing how microbes help plants grow. When Max grows back to normal, the flower bud has grown even taller. Gentle breezes swirl through a quiet grove of wind chimes made from leaves and vines. Max listens to the song of plants and learns they can communicate through signals. He places his paw on the sprout and whispers kindly, "You're doing amazing." The flower glows in response and begins to open slightly. A tiny, sparkling fairy with a flower dress and leafy wings twirls down from the petals. "I'm Petalina, and your spark is nearly ready to bloom," she says warmly. She teaches Max a soft melody to help flowers grow with love and sound. The flower sways, opening its petals halfway. A sudden desert sandstorm blows through, burying nearby plants and drying the air. Max and his friends quickly shield the sprout with umbrellas and leaf tents. "We need water, calm, and care fast," Rooter shouts. Max uses everything he's learned to restore balance in the storm's wake. As Max's flower blooms fully, it releases a burst of sparkling green pollen. All the buried and drooping cacti around him begin to perk up and flower. Sunny cheers, "You've spread the garden spark." Petalina's magic causes flowers to pop up all around the desert. Back at his tent, Max builds a new mini greenhouse powered by sunlight and water. He labels his experiments sunlight plus soil plus water plus love equals growth. The blooming spark plant stands proudly in a pot marked Hope Number 1. A trail of new sprouts grows outside his lab tent, waving in the wind. That night, Max sits under the stars sketching the story of his garden spark. A tiny new glowing seed floats down from the sky, landing in his paw. He smiles and says, "Looks like it's time for another green thumb adventure." The scene fades with Max planting the seed and the flower glowing softly behind him. When you care for nature with kindness, patience, and curiosity, even the smallest seed can grow into something amazing. This story teaches children that plants and the planet need care, love, and a little science to thrive. With every seed Max nurtures, kids learn the importance of being gentle with the earth, asking questions, and never giving up, because even tiny efforts can make a big difference. Thanks for watching, kids. If you enjoyed the adventure, make sure to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and click the bell icon to never miss a new story. See you next time.